back to my channel. It's me, Jenisha Stanley again. And today, I'm going to review the book, Who Was Charles Darwin? This book was written by Deborah Hopkinson and illustrated by Nancy Harrison. This book has 104 pages and 9 chapters, including the timeline of Charles Darwin's life and the world. So, who was Charles Darwin? Well, Charles Darwin was a scientist who had a revolution of thought, which made him come up with a big T, or a big theory on evolution. Charles Darwin was born on February 12, 1809, in England, in a very large house. His dad was called Dr. Darwin. His mom's name was Susanna. So he also had 7 siblings, 6 older brothers and sisters, and 1 younger sister, Catherine. So, I'm going to tell you one crazy fact about him. He liked to collect samples wherever he goes. He collects rare beetles, he collects plants, he collects pebbles, rocks, and more. So, one day, he spotted 3 rare beetles. He wanted them all, except one. Both of his hands were full of beetles. That's why he popped one of them into his mouth and grabbed the 3rd beetle. It shot out a bitter fluid. Yuck, he thought. So he spit the beetle he got and also dropped the 3rd beetle. After that, Charles ended up with only 1 beetle. So, also, his dad wanted him to be a doctor, like him. So, but Charles liked nature more, and he thought medicine wasn't for him. So instead of becoming a doctor, he grew up to become a scientist. Whenever Charles got older, he was invited to go on a journey on the ship, the HMS Beagle. So the voyage was only planned to take 2 years, but it went all the way up to 5 years. So, also, whenever they got on, they visited a lot of different countries. They went to South America, they visited islands like the Galapagos Islands, they went to Africa, went to Australia, and finally all the way back to England. So, on this voyage, he collected a ton of different things. So I'm going to tell you one specific place that Darwin and the other sailors went to. The Galapagos Islands, it's made of many islands. So he saw gigantic tortoises and that were hunted and eaten sometimes. So they even saw tiny birds called finches. They perched on the sailors' heads, and they even saw lots of other things too. Darwin saw iguanas that whenever they were hungry, they went into the ocean to eat some seaweed and then came out to rest in the sun. Darwin had never seen swimming iguanas before, and he even noticed that the finches were unique to every island. So after he came back to England, he was sorting out all of his specimens. Then he finally found this giant skull that he found a couple years before in the journey. Then he finally thought, I haven't seen an animal this big, probably extinct. And he put that away. But then what he noticed was really interesting was the small finches that he had. So he took a closer look at the finches because that's what interested him a lot. So then he saw that all of the finches looked the same, except of the beak size. Some were thick, some were narrow, some were long, some were short. How? He asked. Then he had one question. Why are the finches' beaks different? So then he talked to some scientists. No idea, they replied. So then he started talking to an ornithologist, or a person who studies birds. So then after the ornithologist studied all the finches, then Darwin finally came up with a perfect idea. So it's that all of the finches had the same ancestor. So whenever they got to the islands, they adapted or naturally changed. And then the big size is because of what food is available there, and that's the answer to that question. So then he wrote everything into a journal. So then in 1859, it was published into a book on the origin of species. After that, people started believing his big T theory of evolution. So then in 1871, he came up with a new book called The Descent of Man. So in this book, he said that humans were evolved from ape-like creatures that lived between 8 to 4 million years ago. Then people didn't believe that. What? We came from ape-like creatures? So not true. So then, after that, he said that really was. Then scientists started digging up artifacts from some of the earliest known humans. So now, all of Charles Darwin's, all of his theories are accepted, and they are totally true. Also, he died on April 19, 1882, and was buried in Westminster Abbey in England. So, all of you children in England, you can visit one of the finest scientists' cemetery in Westminster Abbey. So, everyone, go and read this book to learn more about Charles Darwin, his voyage, and his research and theories. Also, a fun fact about Charles Darwin, he is one of the greatest scientists who never had a PhD. Friends, thanks for watching my videos. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned in on my new videos. I'll fly over to my next video. See you there.